Statesman Nation, here with Coach Hafner for a weekly preview. One of these weeks we'll start talking to people outside of just you, but it's fun talking to you right now.
Well,
so you haven't bored me yet. How can you bore me after the first 2 weeks of the season?
There's nothing boring
about
what's
going on. It's just crazy.
Right.
The insanity ensues again on Saturday. You guys have had 2 close games, and Baker is top 20. They're going to be a tough foe as well. But we're going to rewind first and talk about that MidAmerica Nazarene game, the 3 overtime, 51-48, 8,000 yards, it seemed like.
Yeah.
game that both teams definitely wanted to win. Nobody wanted to lose. And
right.
Fortunately, we came out on top and still 2-0. So if you can put it into words.
Well, I think the biggest thing for us right now is that we're finding ways to win.
Right.
And Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, our defense turned Mo Valley over 5 times
right.
and really helped us in that aspect. This week, the offense didn't turn it over at all, so we didn't give them any extra chances, which was huge, I think. And the way the game was going, any extra chance could have cost us the game. And so it was fun to be a part of. It wasn't fun at the beginning because I didn't think we were playing very well.
Right.
I didn't think we were really into the game very much. However, our kids found it somewhere and dug deep, and about midway through the second quarter, we really started to find our stride on offense.
Yeah,
and we found a couple things that we really liked and that were really working, and we just kept going back to them. And obviously, one of those things was Jatavius Stewart just found a way to get him the ball, and he made a lot of plays for us. So our kids never gave up, and in the end, it was just another exciting game.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not even as if the start of the game was that bad. You guys were moving the ball.
Right.
You just couldn't finish off the drives.
Well,
and then finally got the drive going.
And that's a good point because we were moving the ball, we felt good about what our game plan was.
Right.
And so it wasn't like we went out and they shut us down 3 and out 2 or 3 times in a row, and we were struggling to find anything. We had offense.
Yeah.
We just didn't finish.
Sure.
And I think some of that goes back to I just don't think we were really ready to go early in the game. And, that gets a little frustrating as a coach sometimes. But, with that said, with an experienced group, you just let them find it, and thankfully they did.
Yeah, they did, and they had plenty of time to make up the difference.
Right.
They actually took the lead, and then, in the end, still had to come back to get that score. But as far as, the idea that you guys were behind again at halftime, and you do have a veteran group, and obviously they didn't fold.
Right.
They kept on fighting and managed to get back. And talk about that real quick, and then I got another question, but go ahead.
All right, very good. At halftime, I think the best part about what happened, or one of the best parts, was that we got Keegan Murphy back in the secondary.
Yeah.
He had to sit out the first half because of a targeting call in the game before.
Right.
And his we missed his leadership. We had Cody Jarvis and Kyle Baldessari both did a nice job for us. I think we missed the leadership. The communication in the secondary was lacking, and when he came back, it really helped us a ton. And then I thought at halftime on both sides of the ball, I thought both the Coach Norberg and Coach Stutz both made a couple of minor adjustments, but they ended up being great adjustments. So our kids right now are believing in each other, but they're also believing in what we're telling them, and what we're telling them, at halftime and stuff are really good. And I thought after halftime, our kids came out and played really well.
Right. Yeah, and definitely the first 2 weeks we've definitely been a second half team.
Yeah, no question
again,
about
not so much that the first half was bad, but the second half was
just
much better. We've made better adjustments than the other team.
Right.
The other question I was going to ask is, that was about, maybe not a perfect game because special teams wise we're still trying to find our way in there, but as far as otherwise, tons of yards, and that's a very high-powered offense that you slow down.
Oh, man.
Honestly, only giving up 35 points, and they had a few short fields, so overall, really good job defensively, too. Just a great overall game. Really.
Well, it was, and I think, you talked about how powerful they were on offense. That's probably the best offense we've seen since when we went and played St. Xavier in the playoffs, when they won the national championship that year.
Yeah.
They were probably on that level, I think. So, to come out on top, and defensively, they had 2 of the best players we've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah.
One, their
Number 7.
defensive tackle, their linebacker number 7, and their defensive tackle number 56 gave us fits all night.
Yeah.
And so, the fact that we were able to control them, that was one of the halftime adjustments we made on offense, was let's do a better job of figuring out where number 7 is and getting him blocked. And then defensively, we had to figure out how to stop the tight end.
Sure.
And I thought they did a great job of that in the second half. And so, those 2 adjustments were huge and potentially won the game for us.
Definitely. Again, 2-0, and now going down to Baldwin City, Kansas, for a match with Baker. I'd say there's history, but again, with all this hard stuff, there's no history. There's 2 games back in the 70s that some guys played in. That, would have been your dad's team.
Maybe Dad.
Your dad played. But talk about what Baker brings. They're 2-0. They've beaten Grandview earlier. That was it sounded like a pretty sloppy game overall, but they came out on top. They pummeled Culver Stockton last weekend, so they're a strong team. They're coming in with confidence. So.
Well, I think what we're going to get this weekend is a little bit of a contrast to what we've seen the first couple of weeks.
Sure.
They're going to line up and do what they do.
Sure.
They're going to play defense. They're not going to try and trick you. They're not going to try and move around. They don't blitz very much.
Mm-hmm.
And on offense, they have 4 or 5 formations that they like to get in. They stick with those. But what they do very well.
Sure.
You can tell that Coach Grossner's a repetition coach. They're going to line up and they're going to run play after play after play until they get it right, and then they're going to run it some more.
Right.
And they do the same thing on defense. Their guys, when we watched them on film, it doesn't look like they ever get misaligned.
Yeah.
They're always lined up in the right spot. They're always playing hard. They're always running to the football, and those are the types of things that we're going to get.
Sure.
And again, it's gonna be a battle of attrition Saturday.
Right.
I really believe that, because we're going to try and do the same thing to them that they're doing to us, and it's going to come down to who has the most energy at the end of the game, and I think we've shown that we can if we continue to play well, and hopefully this Saturday it'll be the same outcome.
Right. Statistically, they look like they lean a little bit more towards the air game, and that's where we've unfortunately had a little bit given up a few more yards. So anything, without obviously showing your hand, but anything that you guys are keying up on this week to try to slow down their air game, and if so, then maybe you have a better chance, obviously.
I think what we're going to try and do, and again, I go back to the second half of the Mid-Am game. Our communication has to be better. Where we're going, how we're getting there, who's got who, and some different things like that. And then we have to continue to put pressure on the quarterback. We can't just let him stand back there and throw the ball. And again, I thought the second half
did a lot better.
We did,
People were all over him,
and it wasn't that we sacked him a lot, but we made him move.
Yes.
We got him off of his point. We made him step up. We made him step out, and just things like that. We have to continue to improve on and to continue to get better at. I don't think we necessarily need to blitz more.
Right.
I think we just need to do it with our guys up front. They need to do a better job rushing the passer, and I think in the second half of last week's game they did that, and it really helped us.
Yeah, definitely. And then finally, the white elephant in the room is a special team right now, trying to get some, try to win that battle of getting some yards when you've got the ball coming to you, and try to put them a little bit deeper. I'm sure you guys have continued to try tweaking that system to figure out how to do that.
I think we had just a complete breakdown in our punt team when they blocked the punt. We didn't block 3 guys on the action side, and so it was just a complete breakdown. And so I do think, however, we got better. We did pin them on the 1 yard line one time.
Right.
We averaged almost 30 yards of kickoff return, so we're better there. But we have to continue to improve. You can't let special teams beat you.
Yeah.
You have to be sound in the if they're going to beat you, they have to beat you on offense and defense.
Yeah.
Don't let them win the special teams game. Samson was huge on Saturday. Let's be honest.
For a freshman going in, he did exactly what he was supposed to do.
And he did it very well.
Right.
And so our operation in that, he just doesn't have the strongest leg. That's no secret to anybody. So we have to try and figure out ways to. We have to do a better job of, not letting them gain as much field position on their kickoff return. So we'll work on that today. and we'll have a plan that's hopefully better than the first 2 weeks. And we've changed some personnel. I think that'll help us. And so, we'll see. But you just can't lose the game in special teams.
Right.
And the other night it about happened to us.
Yeah, I mean, as good as everything else was going, unfortunately, special teams almost gave them, their
gave
out
them the
to,
momentum.
Yeah.
And then they scored right after that,
Right.
and then it was like, okay, now we
got to
gotta
go back
regain
and
ourselves.
do it. So,
Yeah.
the crowd was amazing,
Man.
and that was it. When I first looked out, I went, "Oh, it's a pretty small crowd." But then they came up, showed from somewhere, and they showed big. They were loud and they were crazy. They stormed the field. It's the first time I've ever had our crowd storm the field afterwards, and it was definitely a storm-worthy play and a storm-worthy game and all of that. We don't have to talk about the crowd. I just want you, obviously you were excited.
Oh,
it's great
huge.
to be at home.
Yeah, no question. And, we haven't played a night game for a long time here.
It's been a few years.
And, the fact that people came, Iowa State was on TV and there were a lot of things going on. And the fact that our stadium side was completely full.
Right.
I mean, to the max.
Sure.
And they were loud and it all was. Our kids were talking about it after the game, how fun it was to play in front of such a huge crowd. And so, we hope that we can continue to win games and play well, and we hope that our fans will continue to come out and support us because we have a great product right now.
And obviously that's my segue plug-in to come out to go down to Baldwin City on Saturday. It's a late game. It's, hopefully people want to make that trip. But you got a lot of kids from Missouri, so hopefully it won't be such a long trip for those parents and fans, but come down to Baldwin City, 6 o'clock. Yeah, I guarantee it's going to be a big crowd, everything I've heard. But definitely, if you have any questions about wanting to see this team, they're more than worthy of the admission price.
And it's so fun right now because our fans have been great. Our kids are playing their tails off, and they're just a fun group to be around.
Yeah, definitely. So another, like I said, Coach, another top 20 matchup, and 3-0 would definitely sound a lot better than 2-0 did this week.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
just keep on winning, and good luck this Saturday.
Thank you.